Hey guys, what's up? First of all, let me say sorry that I didn't make many videos recently. I was incredibly busy playing GTA 5, and it's an amazing game, but I'm gonna get into that in a different video. Today we're gonna talk about Mass Effect 4, because just yesterday, quite a bit of information has been leaked to Reddit. The user who claims to have gotten his hands on all this information says it came out of a survey that Bioware conducted just a month ago, and he just took all these points that they asked him about his opinion about, basically, and posted it out on Reddit. The survey presented a series of text about various points of the game, like, fighting system, where it takes place, what's the story, how everything works, and then they kind of asked the user how satisfied he is with these facts. So the whole thing sounds quite a bit like a rumor. It sounds like a few scenarios that they wrote up. They could be true, but they could also be false. So nobody really knows, but there are a few points that indicate that it actually might be true. The way it's written, it's very professional, and it has no taste of like fan fiction. It absolutely looks like an authentic write-up about a Mass Effect game. The second point is that these surveys are actually quite common in the games industry. They happen all the time. And the third and probably the biggest point is that Dragon Age Inquisition was leaked in the exact same way. There also was a survey that was structured in a very similar way, and just a few days before they actually released the information, it all leaked out and turned out to be all true. So these points kind of indicate that everything we read here might be legit. Who knows? But let's look at what they're talking about in this write-up. So Mass Effect 4 apparently is 4 times as big as Mass Effect 3. It will take place in the Helios cluster, so that means it's a completely new galaxy, and it will be far removed by time and space from the final events of the Mass Effect trilogy and anything that relates to Commander Shepard. In the game, you will be a Pathfinder who is trained in combat, but you're more like an untested explorer leading an expedition into this unknown Helios cluster to establish a new home for humanity. Probably something that I should mention at this point is that some of these points might be interpreted as spoilers. So if you really want to know nothing about the game, you probably wouldn't have clicked this video. But nonetheless, if you don't want to know anything about the game, then just leave now, because there's a bit of stuff coming out now that could be seen as a spoiler. In this universe, in this Helios cluster, you will discover the ruins of an ancient, mysterious alien race. They're called the Remnants. During your adventure, you will have to recruit 7 distinct crew members to fight by your side, which is very much like the previous Mass Effect games, follows the same recipe. But because you can't be everywhere in the same time, because this cluster apparently is so big, you can also recruit mercenaries and develop AI-controlled strike teams that you can deploy and that can take on randomly generated time-sensitive missions. That's how they described it. And that kind of got my alarm bells ringing a little bit. Does that mean we're going to have like a browser minigame, or maybe even microtransactions where you can buy even better AI teams that will then be more efficient in what they do and how they do their mercenary work? I hope it's not that. There's loads of more information on Reddit, so I'll put the link down in the description. If you want to read everything by yourself, then just go there. I just can't go over all the points in here. Now, it all doesn't sound too bad. I think it's quite nice that it's all about exploring unknown territory. For me, in my mind, it's a little bit like Star Trek, which is quite cool. You go to places that nobody has ever been before, and you just explore the side of the universe that nobody has ever seen. But at the same time, I personally don't like that it's completely removed in time from like Shepard's action. I kind of would have loved to see how the universe looks just after the ending of Mass Effect 3 and the trilogy. Like, what was the impact that the war on the Reapers had on the universe? What kind of actions came out of that, and how did it shape the existing universe that we already know? It would have been interesting to know that, but maybe they're gonna do that again. The whole thing is kind of a rumor at the moment, so we don't really know. One thing that they didn't address, which I find really sad, is that I would have hoped, and I always hoped for that in all the Mass Effect games, like a cooler way of traveling in space, a little bit like what Star Citizen is doing right now, right? Where you fly through space, and it is basically a space sim, and then you can seamlessly land on a planet, and then you have your third person action, you get back in your ship, you fly into space. And in Mass Effect, all you have is like a top-down map, at least in the past, where you click on the planets and you fly there with a tiny micro version of your ship, and it's just not at all immersive. And I just really would have hoped that they make more of the universe, like literally the stars and the universe, where you can fly through it and you have your ships. and all that. That's something I would have loved to see. However, they also didn't say specifically that they're not doing that, so it kind of remains to be seen. Another thing I noticed going through all these points in the leak is that some parts of it really sound like Destiny, specifically one part where they talk about multiplayer games will earn you Apex funds, which is the in-game currency, which then can be used to purchase items and gear in the single-player game. So some of these points are quite in the MMO territory, I felt. And I don't know whether that's a direction they actually want to take. I could imagine, just because so many games are trying it nowadays, and Destiny in terms of numbers was a huge success, that they're taking a few MMO aspects and trying to weave them into the single player experience. I personally feel it doesn't really fit with the Mass Effect universe. Mass Effect always was like a very distinct narrative driven, typically Bioware RPG type of style single player experience, and then there might be a multiplayer that's detached from that. So I hope they don't go too far down that route and stick to kind of where they come from and what they had in the past. Anyway, guys, these are my thoughts on the leak. I'm sure you have your own thoughts. Leave those in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like. You can subscribe to my channel. Again, sorry I didn't do that many videos recently. Like I said, incredibly busy with GTA 5. I'm going to do a video about that in the near future. So guys, stay tuned. Take care. I see you next time, and I'm out. Bye.